Welcome back to Up Front. Top city officials deny it, but Madison has a reputation as a sanctuary city. The term is sometimes used to describe a city where local law enforcement doesn't ask people about their immigration status. During the campaign, President-elect Trump threatened to cut off federal funding for sanctuary cities, and Republicans in the state assembly passed a bill last session that would have penalized sanctuary cities. In an op-ed column last week, Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark said mayors vowing to provide sanctuary to illegal immigrants should be prosecuted. I recently spoke to Madison Police Chief Mike Koval about Madison and the sanctuary city issue there. And let's begin by having you explain exactly what the city's policy is and why you think you're not a sanctuary city.
Well, at least as we go to broadcast today, there is no formalistic resolution or ordinance or anything in the charter that suggests that we have this pro forma sanctuary city status. What we do have, and it dates back a while, is that we have an affirmative part of our code of conduct here at the MPD, an affirmative response to our community in that we are not going to use our powers of enforcement to aggressively use those powers towards enforcement issues. We're not going to do traffic stops, contacts, detainments on the basis of people who might theoretically be here as an undocumented person.
So you do cooperate, though, with federal authorities. For example, if someone is arrested for a felony, that would be an example
Yes.
where you would cooperate, correct?
Yes, there's a certain criteria of crimes, also known by the euphemism of PEP, under the Priority Enforcement Program under the Department of Homeland Security, where they've identified several significant, violent, serial, sort of predatory crimes that I think most of us could agree are harmful to anyone's community. Those are a completely different thing. If ICE asks for our assistance in those, we ask that they notify us in advance, and of course we would cooperate with those extractions.
So as we mentioned at the beginning of this interview, Chief, there is at least a perception out there that Madison is a sanctuary city. Are you concerned that if the new president decides that Madison fits at least his definition of what a sanctuary city is, are you concerned that the city could lose federal funding, but dollars that are badly needed by any major city?
Well, I agree. I think that the fiscal impact on our city, which literally millions of dollars at stake, is nothing to take lightly. So I do believe that we have to negotiate these issues with some degree of care for our public policy makers, our mayor and our alderpersons. But in a sense, sort of having an informal understanding that Madison is a very inclusive and accessible city, that's a good thing in terms of the kind of relationships we want to build, relationships of trust within our various demographics here in Madison.
Let me ask you about what we saw in the last legislative session, where you had the Assembly passing legislation that would have allowed for penalizing sanctuary cities. The Senate did not take it up, but given what's occurred in the last month or so, given the results of the election and the comments of President-elect Trump, do you think that issue is potentially going to resurface again in the state legislature, and does that concern you?
Well, I do think that it's still very prominent as an agenda issue, both federally and as well as our state. It does concern me because I think that it leaves a lot of people very conflicted, and I think it becomes fractious in terms of what we're trying to do in terms of building relationships of inclusivity and access for everyone to the services that the police provide. So I'm concerned that when the rhetoric gets heated and determined and then it's embellished, that creates a lot of concerns within the community. And I do a monthly radio show on an all-Spanish radio talk show, La Movida. I go to Centro Hispano. I meet with constituents all the time. And the level of anxiety and concern and apprehension, it is definitely palpable. People are very concerned about what the direction is in terms of the federal government's stance on immigration policy.
So the bottom line here, Chief, and I guess we'll wrap it up here, is you intend to continue the current policies. You do not intend to make changes based on the prospect of potentially legislation by the president or by Congress or by even the state legislature to address this sanctuary city issue.
That's absolutely correct. Officers are imbibed with a great deal of discretion, and as a management prerogative, I have even more discretion in terms of what our priorities will be in terms of community and public safety. And if I really want us to be true to our idealism of community policing at its fullest, that means everybody has to be on board and feel accepting and included and willing to come forward to help us make those mutual goals realized. So absolutely, we will continue to take a very inclusive, total access policy, and we will not be using our local authorities to sort of hunt down folks based on immigration or documentation issues.
Again, that interview was recorded last week. Coming up next on Up Front, how the state can better keep prisoners from going back to prison.